Okay, update. So in the time lapse you just saw, learning curve for what's going on here. As I mentioned in the previous clip, I have taken the throttle body off before. We did a service to which included a new gasket. So going to be very delicate with all those things in mind. However, it took a bit of finagling really to figure out exactly which route I'm going to take here with this. Again, this is all new to me. So I probably spent 10 minutes alone taking off the throttle bracket, which has the throttle cables on it and so on and so forth. Once we got that off, I had a clear shot at the back of the throttle body. I then tried to, again, just kind of go ahead and put a 1/2 inch wrench, which, by the way, it is a 1/2 inch wrench you're going to need for the water pipe inlet for the that you need to remove for the thermostat. But anyways, you know, I tried to just kind of take it off with the throttle body still on, but at the end of the day, the throttle body needed to come off. I'm glad I took it off because I smell very rich in a fuel scent with that. I had kind of an idea that the fuel pressure regulator may be going out on this. It does kind of have like a weird hesitation or a little bit of a vibration, just not really idling correctly. And I've done damn near the whole vacuum system on that. So I am excited to know that. I'm glad that I took it off, and I'm glad to know that there is a problem with it. I do have one on hand. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do the fuel pressure regulator while I'm in there as well. And I think I have a good shot at the bolts at this point in juncture for the thermostat. So let me show you that now. Okay, so here we are inside the area. You can see I have just kind of gently set aside the throttle body. Just remember to be super delicate with that type of stuff, but it is what it is. Something happens, we'll just buy a new one or rebuild it. But regardless, yeah, so lots of fuel smell coming out of here. I would assume that it's safe to say that this fuel pressure regulator is probably not doing its job correctly. It's kind of a common issue on these 3100 V6 motors that you'll find in Buicks and Chevys and Oldsmobiles and so on and so forth. So not an expensive fix. We went ahead and we've picked one up a while ago. We're making progress. You're learning along with me. I don't know what I'm doing, man. This is trial and error, but I am excited to see that those bolts right there, that's what we've been waiting on. We got that one and the one that's in the abyss that you can't see. So fingers crossed, we should be thermostat in here in no time. So this, not easy if you have big hands. I actually had to continue to just fight with a 1/2 inch wrench, a couple variations, even cut my finger in the process. And last but not least, I had to recruit my wife to help me pull out that last pipe there to get the thermostat out. So let me show you what that looks like now. Okay, it's out. I've been chasing this. This video is probably gonna be 3 minutes long, but this has been all afternoon. So the thermostat is out. I have a new thermostat that's getting ready to go in less than a full afternoon's time. So check back in a few. I am happy to say that shouts to my wife, honestly. She's awesome. She's got smaller hands. I have very small hands. Okay, cool. So here we are. Again, everything's put back the way it was. You know, the intake, the throttle. This is not obviously, you know, those that are used to the newer cars. This is an older car, so believe it or not, it's got a mechanical throttle cable as well as your return spring. So all that is properly set. Nothing has been over torqued. I don't have a torque wrench, but everything is kind of put back the way it was. All our sensors are in. You can see our new upper radiator hose there. I am gonna watch this, to be honest. It fits, but it does kind of like bind here a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if I need to maybe just kind of trim down that side just a smidge to kind of give that a little bit of slack, but other than that, I think we're good to go. So yeah, I'll see you guys in just a second with the next step. Went to the auto parts store. Let me show you what I picked up. We got 2 gallons of the Prestone for GM vehicles, the Dex Cool type of stuff. So this is already pre-diluted, no need to add any water additionally. actually get you guys a better picture of what's happening here. Forgive me, again, very amateur here. Cool. Start to pour this Dex Cool Prestone, whatever you want to call it, in here. And again, we will start to look for some of the coolant to seep through the bleeders. Once we see that, again, we'll close the screws and we'll turn it on. And this will tell us, was this afternoon worth it? Okay, so might have went a little crazy, but this is what I'm talking about. Once you see that coolant start leaking like that, you know you've got the air out of at least that portion of the system. So what I'm gonna do now is we're just gonna close that up because I don't wanna lose all that good coolant that I just bought. So we'll close that one. All right, and you don't have to Hercules it, just give it a little snug, and that's all we need. And so in theory, if I'm doing this correctly, then this one should start to bleed here shortly. So let's see what that looks like. We're at a point now where I think we can finally start this damn car and see what happens. This has been about 6 hours in the making, so let's see what happens. We've got the coolant in the system, and I am going to turn it on. I'm gonna put the heat on, and let's see if we can't bring this thing in a proper running temperature. So let's get you guys in a better position and see what happens. Okay, so we're running. We're gonna see what happens at this point. The radiator appears to be full. Radiator is full. E-fans are kicking on. So let's see what we get out of this. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check all the points that I worked on today. I wanna make sure that there's no leaks under the car from that lower radiator hose. Also the portion where we unscrewed the radiator, and everything up top and in between. So while it's running, I'm gonna take a look at all that with the flashlight. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you. We wanna let this thing get up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, we'll check back in, and hopefully we've got some positive results. All right, we're rolling. This has been an incredibly nerve-wracking process. I wasn't really sure. My temp gauge was flying up. All sorts of crazy shit. So very new to this, obviously. I had to trust the process, and I didn't film it. At the end of the day, it's just pour coolant in, turn it on, open your vents, put the heat on, bleed, bleed, bleed. Your temperature should start to climb, but at the same time, you should start getting heat in the car. I don't trust the gauge because it's an old car, of course. I'm sure the gauge is fine, but yeah, a little nerve-wracking. So far I've gotten 2 gallons of coolant, probably 1.5 for sure. There's probably a quarter of a gallon on the floor. So lots of F-bombs that I didn't share with you, but we're in the right direction. So let's see what happens. And you can see as we walk in, nope, we're getting hot. We're getting hot. So we're gonna bleed it. We're gonna bleed it. There it is. All right, let me shut this thing down and check the system. Be right back. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of nerve-wracking, honestly. This is all new. I haven't really done this on my own in a long time. Like I do a lot of stuff at a shop with my friend that we have, but it's weird when it comes to your shit. It either goes one or two ways for me. Either I'm like super confident and not afraid to dive into it, but then I'm like, shit, let's not blow this thing up. So at any rate, we were getting in the right direction. I think what I'm gonna do now is I've got heat coming out of the vent, which is good, but she was getting a little hot and I didn't like it. So what I'm gonna do is let her cool down for a little bit, and then I'm gonna check all my levels again. And then we probably need to get more coolant if we're being honest, and just make sure that we have enough on deck. It's a 3.1 liter V6, if you're familiar with these things anyways. They're the head gasket. head gasket nightmare motors. Great motors, but notorious for a head gasket. So also one of the things that I'm trying to keep in mind, like I don't want to rush this just for the sake of video. I want to make sure that I do this properly. So, you know, some things I'm going to film, some things I'm not going to film. Also, this is not necessarily a tutorial channel either, but I just wanted to share my experience with this one. So again, it's been a long, hard fight today. It is running. It's running great. We're headed in the right direction. For now, we're going to let it cool down for a bit. I'm going to come back in a little while. We'll check it again, and we'll see what we get. You can see the smile on my face. It's been a long fought battle today, but we are fucking good. I ran it. It's been running for 25, 30 minutes already. I've got really hot heat. My coolant level is, I think, where it needs to be within the system, the radiator, the reservoir, the block, and that is reflecting on the gauge on the dash. Let's show you that right now. Okay, so we have been idling for the better half of 30 minutes or so, and as you can see, that's where it needs to be. I am very excited, and the heat is blowing exquisitely, which is good for me. If you know me personally, you know I don't deal well in this cold weather. Even though it's Florida, don't let it fool you. Central Florida gets really cold, and it's a wet cold. And there's my mileage on old girl. I will do a little bit more of an interior look around in this thing when the time comes, but as I've mentioned before, it's been an all-day process. So we are absolutely going to hang it up for the night. I'm going to park this thing outside and bring the pink truck in the garage, and tomorrow morning we will go get a coffee and let this thing run again. But I am very happy, and yeah, it was exciting. This is the first video I've tried to put together for YouTube, and you know, I'm excited to see what comes of it. But that right there, it was all worth it. That, and also we got that as well. So yeah, check back in the morning with a cold coffee and hopefully some hot heat and a mildly cool running vehicle. So see you in a little while. Morning. All right, so day 2, like I mentioned, we lost a little bit of time yesterday with you know, the storm and the setbacks that I was mentioning previously, just having to really chase that thermostat a little more than I thought. So just woke up a little while ago, and I have went ahead and let the car run again. I did check the coolant level after it sat all night, and yeah, she's chilling, man. Respectively, the radiator was full of coolant where it needed to be, and you know, the reservoir, I filled that up. So it idled in the driveway for about 20 minutes with the heat on full blast. We are currently cruising through the neighborhood. Again, as I mentioned, I am going to go to Dunkin' Donuts because duh. But before that, I did just want to kind of cruise through the neighborhood and make sure that we don't have any issues overheating. I obviously do have 2 jugs of coolant with me in the trunk. So the objective here is just driving around while the heat is on. It is disgustingly hot in here. But I want to ensure that, you know, we're in good standing before I get out in the road. Excuse that sun glare. Before we get out on the road out here, I want to make sure that I am in fact okay. You know, also too, the wife and I, we drive this car quite often, and so I don't want to find myself where now I've got my wife in a situation where we're on the side of the road because we're overheating. But we are working with very, very hot heat, which is great. As I'd mentioned before, I get cold pretty easily, so that's a good thing. And yeah, we look like we're in good shape, so we're on the way to Dunkin' Donuts now. I feel comfortable leaving the neighborhood, and I am absolutely ready to crack this window because I am sweating almost just about in here. So we'll check back in when we get the goods, and I think that's it. We'll be able to lay this one to rest. I think after this, you know, I don't know what we'll get into from this video moving forward. Again, this isn't necessarily a tutorial channel. If you found this video helpful in any shape or form, that's sweet. I would appreciate a thumbs up in the form of a like, and maybe just let me know if there's something that I could have pinpointed a little differently. But yeah, this was a learning experience for me. I'm definitely not blind to the fact on how to work on vehicles, but this is the first time that I've worked on this 3100 motor, and more importantly, it's the first time I've really had to open up the Buick to do something since I've owned it in the last 6 months. So besides the throttle service, we basically did it again because I cleaned everything while I was in there. So yeah, we're on the way to Duncan, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, all right, so we are pulling out of Duncan, and I am happy to report that on top of the coffee and my wife's coffee, yeah, we did it. It runs good. It runs great. I'm very excited. We are ready to look at Christmas lights. So thanks for toughing it out with me. I think this video is probably a little longer than it should have been, but yeah, this is my first YouTube video that's like of quality and or length. Please, if you like what you see, leave me a comment below. What could I do better? What would you like me to change? If this video helped you in the form of working on your Buick, let me know. And above all, stay safe out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace.